finals. And it's an unbelievable performance. But then I said to myself, it's against the Hornets. So are you encouraged by Kyrie's monster game?
I don't even know how to answer that specific question, so I'm just going to say how I feel. It made me want to throw up. I'm disgusted. Because you got a bunch of fools out there that's raving about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant clapping and all of this other stuff. Kevin Durant should be sick. The fans who love Kyrie Irving should be sick. Because you know what last night was evidence of? What he's robbing us of. Kyrie Irving, find me one person that watches the game of basketball that has ever denied how spectacular of an offensive player Kyrie Irving is. It's never happened. We've all seen this. This is nothing. He scored 50. So, Kyrie could do that in his sleep any night he wants to. That's how electrifying of a talent he is. What we talked about and what we lamented, Doggy, is that he ain't available.
100%.
This is who he is. You see what I'm saying? And when I saw Kevin Durant clapping like that last night and everybody raving, I got ticked off because that's exactly what Kyrie Irving wants to do. See, he wants to skip half the season. He want to work when he want to work. Then he want to show up. He puts on a show, and then everybody gets caught up in the show and forget the fact you ain't available half the time. The Brooklyn Nets are vying for a play-in spot in the playoffs. The Brooklyn Nets. When KD was not injured, when he was healthy and on the basketball court this year, they were tied for the #1 seed when he went down. They went from the #1 seed to the 8th seed, right, trying to make sure they survive for the play-in tournament. What's the #1 reason that's the case? Because Kyrie ain't available. But we want to ignore that. We want to ignore that. And we want to sit up there and go like this. Well, we're not going to judge him because he's unvaccinated or whatever. What about when the riots took place in the U.S. Capitol and he decided to take days off? What about the fact that this brother has played in a grand total of like 18 playoff games since they won the title in Cleveland with him? This is who he's been. What about talking when people were booing and they talk about, well, they booed him in Boston and, because he left them? No. It's because he promised them he was staying, and then he left. That's what happened. Because he talked about being a leader and then didn't lead. Because he talked about being available, then not being available. So when I see that, listen, we see a lot of guys, maybe not people with his level of talent, because he is nothing short of spectacular. Kyrie is box office. My attitude, Doggy, just so you know, because you weren't here when I said this, I'd give Kyrie Irving $50 million a year, 1 year at a time. I'd never trust him with a long-term contract to save my life.
They can pay for his supper.
Because that brother will not show up half the time. You know why? Because he don't love basketball like that. He can play. He's playing because he's spectacular at it, and he's playing because it pays well. That brother don't love it. You could talk about Harden, and we can have these discussions. You could talk about KD. That same KD that's clapping is the same KD that'll play broke. That's the same KD that'll show up anywhere, anytime, any day. That brother gonna put on them, lace up them sneakers, and he's gonna show up. All right, I gotta admit to you, and I'm not joking about this. I'm dead serious. I'm not joking, and I certainly don't mean anything by it towards anybody else but Kyrie Irving. When the whole invasion took place with Russia and Ukraine, I thought Kyrie was gonna skip games because of that. I ain't lying. I'm not playing. I really, really mean it because that's who he is. He sits up there and he looks at the world and, his intellect is here and everybody else is here. And as a result, it's more than just a game. It's beneath me. I got bigger things on my mind. But could you make sure you cut that check, please? That's Kyrie Irving. That is who he has been. And so when I saw that 50 last night, I said, damn, look at this spectacular brother here. And how many games have I seen him? He don't even care. It don't matter. I miss games I got to miss. I'll play games that I have to play. They don't lift the vaccine mandate. And Brooklyn ends up in a play-in game that he can't play. Brooklyn ends up in a first-round series in a Game 7, and he can't play. We're going to care more about that than him. I don't know that to be true. I'm saying that is the impression he has given us, Doggy. And that's why I was disgusted.
He's 100%. I mean, don't forget the Portland, Utah, Detroit road trip that he missed last year because he went to the birthday party, which drove me crazy too. I can't do it. He's 1,000% right. I wish I could argue with him here, but I can't. He's a wonderful basketball player. He killed Curry in the finals the year that Cleveland won. Let's never forget that in Game 7. And to me, unlike Djokovic in tennis, who's only hurting himself because of the vaccination thing, he's hurting the Brooklyn franchise. And he's hurting Durant, who he convinced to go to Brooklyn with him. Maybe the Knicks, he goes to Brooklyn. He's letting them down because he is getting paid a fortune, and there's players on that team who need him to be healthy and playing on the court so they have a chance to win a championship. And he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else in the room, and that is very, very dangerous. I think Steve hit it right on the head. The fact that he hasn't gotten his vaccine situation straightened out is a complete disgrace. He's in a team sport. He's making $40 million a year. You owe it to your owner. You owe it to the GM. You owe it to Nash.
You owe it
and
to
you know
the
it,
league.
and you owe it to Silva. You owe it to the fan base. You owe it to everybody to make sure that you are available when they play postseason games in your building.
And he feels he owes no one anything.
And he's wrong. He is when you're getting paid $40 million a year and they want you to take a shot, you take the shot. And you go out there and you play. And how about Durant? Now, Durant doesn't want to get mad because Durant's I think he's a pretty good guy, so he doesn't want to get involved. If you're Durant and you sit there and you lose playoff games because this guy doesn't want to play in your building because of the vaccination thing, I'd be ticked off. Hold on now. You're the one, the reason I'm here. We need you to win because Durant can't beat Milwaukee and Philadelphia by himself. He needs Irving.
He needs him.
And if Irving doesn't show up because of a dopey vaccine thing, because he thinks, again, quote unquote, he's smarter than everybody in the room, that's letting Durant down. Who he brought to him, he brought to Brooklyn in the first place. So he is 1,000% correct. I've been waiting to scream about Irving on this show for the last 3 times. Now I get a chance to, but I'm with him 100%.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.